How would you feel if your parents rejected you at birth? Asked Ijeoma, who was crying so bitterly. Ijeoma was a young girl whose parents rejected her as soon as she was born. Her father absconded, while her mother left her for relatives to train and take care of her as a little child. Then Ijeoma grew up in the midst of 5 boys. Most times, they would molest her, abuse, and even beat her up. Every day, she would cry, hoping that she was never born to experience this kind of cruelty by people in the world. So, as she grew up, she had so much hate around her. Nobody loved her because they felt that she was a cursed child. Some parents even warned their children not to associate with Ijeoma because she could be a witch. So Ijeoma lived in isolation and was always lonely. But in her loneliness, she always found comfort in singing. Whenever she sings, her voice melts the heart of people around, even in their hatred. When Ijeoma came of age after her secondary school, she was hoping to get a job, to save money, and to also further her education into the university. Then, luckily for her, she got a good job in a restaurant owned by a man named Chidi. Chidi was a young man who owned one of the fastest growing restaurants in town. He was very diligent and hardworking too. So the day that Ijeoma resumed work in his restaurant, Chidi immediately fell in love with her because of her elegance, beauty, and poise. But Ijeoma kept working hard, learning all she could and become better in life. While she was there, other workers saw that their boss, Chidi, liked Ijeoma. Then they became jealous of her and they started planning on how they would blackmail her so that she would be fired. In all their efforts to frame her, she still thrived, and her boss Chidi even loved her the more. Then one day, Chidi's mind was made up that he wanted to marry Ijeoma. He now approached her and they had a long talk, but she never mentioned to him about her parents and all the bad things that she had experienced in the past. After a long time of getting to know each other, Chidi decided to take it a notch higher by proposing to her. Although skeptical at first, she finally accepted to marry Chidi because she wanted to live the life of misery and be loved for once in her life. So when it was time for Chidi to meet her people, everyone in the village started feeling Chidi with numerous negative things about Ijeoma. They also mentioned how her parents left her without any reasonable explanation. But Chidi's mind was unshaken. He still wanted to go ahead to marry her. So after everything, he married Ijeoma. Although the journey wasn't smooth for them, but they conquered eventually. A year after their wedding, Ijeoma and Chidi were blessed with a beautiful baby girl whom they named Chika. Their lives became even sweeter. Ijeoma was really enjoying love for the very first time in her life after years of abuse, rejection, and hatred. She dedicated all her time to raising her family. Her husband Chidi was also doing very well in business, and they managed the business together and flourished. Then, few years later, after they had their 5th child, something extraordinary happened to Ijeoma. On one sunny day, while Ijeoma was outside the house feeding her new baby, a woman showed up in front of her with tears in her eyes. Ijeoma was in shock because she didn't know the woman. Then she quietly welcomed the woman and asked her to sit and wipe her tears first. So after that, the woman opened up to her and started begging Ijeoma for forgiveness. She told Ijeoma that she was her mother who abandoned her when she was born. But Ijeoma could not believe it. She started crying with so much bitterness in her heart. So her mother, Chioma, explained why she left her and ran away and never looked back. Chioma was a young girl of about 15 years old who got pregnant for a man. When she told the man about the pregnancy, he rejected it immediately and blamed her for not being careful. Chioma had a dream of becoming a medical doctor and didn't want anything to jeopardize her plans. So she decided to abort the baby, but the baby couldn't go away. Out of anger, she decided to throw the baby away when she gives birth. And Chioma now faced so much mockery and ridicule from her mates due to the pregnancy, and that made her blame the baby so much for her misery. Then when Chioma finally had the baby, she saw how beautiful the baby was, and she couldn't throw her away as she had planned earlier. Then instead of throwing the baby away, she now gave the baby to a distant relative to help her take care of. And afterwards, she left and never turned back. She was finally able to finish her education and became the doctor that she had ever dreamed of. This story made Ijeoma cry the more because it seemed as if she was never wanted right from conception. Chioma, being Ijeoma's mother, begged her for hours to forgive her, but that was very difficult for her to do. Then that night, Ijeoma could not sleep. She cried so much that her husband came to console her, but she couldn't just stop crying. So many things were playing in her mind that night that made her lose her sleep entirely. But by morning, Ijeoma vowed never to leave her children behind no matter what. She promised to always be there for them no matter how difficult it may seem. So her children and husband became her source of joy and strength daily. Later on, Ijeoma was able to further her education in higher institution while still having her kids, even though her husband's envious brothers didn't approve of it. Ijeoma turned all the hatred around her to love for people. She became so good to people because she refused to be down by the rejection that had plagued her since she was born. She became happier and even better because she married a man that valued her and supported all her dreams, making sure her dreams came to pass. Then years later, Ijeoma reconciled with her mother. Although they were not close, but what matters most was that she had forgiven her mother for making her go through hell as a child. After her reconciliation with her mother, she wanted to also find her father, but unfortunately, he had passed a very long time ago. So she never got the chance to meet her father. As the years went by, Ijeoma never allowed her experiences to put her down. Instead, she was able to turn negativity around for her good. She made sure that she brought her children up to become responsible men and women who made her and their father Chidi proud till they were no more. We have come to the end of today's story. This story is simply teaching us about forgiveness. Most of us have been hurt in different ways in the past. Sometimes forgiving your offender can be very, very difficult, but we should try as much as we can to let go and move on. When you forgive and let go, you become better and happier. So this is an encouragement to anyone who is currently struggling with unforgiveness. Yes, it might be difficult. Yes, it is very, very difficult, but you just have to let go for your own happiness and for your own peace of mind. It would only get easier along the way when you finally let go. So thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this story today, please kindly subscribe, like my video, and share your thoughts in the comment section below. And let's have a conversation. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.